Hey, what's going on, man? This is Will Z Tidwell with Skybox Conversations, man. The Hoop Pod. Well, we talk all things hoops. Everything from the Lakers, man, to my favorite college team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, Woo Pig, Suey, baby. But we're here to talk about All Star Weekend. Was it a hit? Was it a miss? What y'all think, man? Because we get so many different mixed emotions, from the pros to the analysts to the just the everyday fan to the what I'm saying. Like everybody has an opinion. Um, most people want to complain, but they're also I've been hearing some good feedback as well when it comes to how people feel about the overall event. Um, and you know what? To be honest, when it comes to me, I'm kind of in the middle of it. I'm kind of in the middle of it because it's like it wasn't just terrible. I just think that they didn't do enough of the stuff that was working, and there were certain things that they could have did without, right? And it kind of made you teeter the fence of it, when especially it comes to Sunday overall, to have you like, because let's get back to let's start from the beginning. What was the number one reason why most people did not want to, um, you know, care about All Star Weekend for the last, let's say, what 4 or 5 years? Most people have not cared about it. Why? Because we knew that the players were going to come out and they were just kind of floating through shit, right? 1,000 dunks. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers just lay motherfuckers lay by them. Motherfuckers shooting 1,000 threes. No real strategy, no real coaching. Because if you remember, I've never felt like the All-Star game has been like just ultra competitive from start to finish. But there were some stretches of the game where Kobe, I'm finna sit. I'm finna lock that shit up. We need to stop right here. You know what I'm saying? We they go like they used to be down 20, and then you'll look up and then it'll be a 4 point game. You know what I'm saying? Now in the NBA, with the All-Star game, it's like if a motherfucker down 20, 30 points, you knew it was like it's over. It's over. Ain't nobody finna try to like, you know what I'm saying? Like they gonna get they getting blew out. Ain't no coming back from that, right? But there were a few years ago, like before this started happening, where it's like, man, I'm finna lock in for this last 5 minutes and I'm finna lock that shit up. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna make you work. Or I'm finna really go get a bucket. Like you had to hit a game winner. Like there were these exciting factors to the game where it's like nobody out here trying to get hurt, right? Because we still got a whole nother half of the season to play. But like we're gonna get the fans a show, especially at certain spurts. And then there will be some times where I'm finna just, I'm gonna rock the rim or I'm gonna pull up from deep or whatever the case may be, bro. But it's like, let's remember what led to this problem to begin with. It's the lack of effort. It's those gaps in those moments in those instances where I'm finna lock up and lock in. They don't happen anymore. It's all dunks, it's all threes, it's all of those different things. And this kind of alludes to what Draymond has been saying, for the last 2 days. I'm guessing we'll get to that, but like this kind of goes directly into that, right? But it's the lack of effort. It's the lack of trying. It's the lack of pride. It's the lack of, let's put on a good show. Of course, we don't want y'all to get hurt. Of course, we understand, that y'all are professionals and have a whole nother half of the season to play as NBA players. And that's what's ultimately the most important. But this is also an important weekend, and we get y'all want to have a good time. But part of having a good time is like, taking the pride in the game with like the way we know y'all do on a day-to-day basis. That's all we asking. Um, and just have those moments where you lock in and lock up, right? And when you talk about what went wrong this year at All Star Weekend, it wasn't so much the effort. I feel like it wasn't the highest that it's ever been, but it was better, right? It was better. But there were some things within the actual format of the game, right? Within the actual um overall structure that had you like, well, right? And there's a list of things. There's a list of things. Let's start with the fact that we're here for All Star Basketball Weekend, and there was only 42 minutes of basketball out of 3 hours. That's a problem. We watch so many ads and so many commercials where it's like, come on now, you know what I'm saying? And there's so many different facts out here. I mean, I think somebody even broke down, exactly how much basketball was played in each one. But I saw it on somebody else's show, so I wasn't gonna steal it. But like, but just think about that though. 42 minutes out of 3 hours. That's a long time. You know what I'm saying? Of without basketball, and then they start hooping, and then you want to start doing presentations. You want to give out jerseys and all of that shit. You should have did that at like halftime. You should have did that shit after the game, post game. You know what I'm saying? Opening the game, like you should have figured that out a little bit differently because it's like y'all want us to be serious. Y'all want us to go hard. But right when we trying to get in a rhythm, you know, when you hoop, like when I get in a rhythm, I done came down, I done hit 2 in a row. We up 11-1. I think the game was like 11-1. We up 11-1 and y'all stopped the game to do a presentation. And then Kevin Hart was like forcing it. Kevin Hart was forcing it bad. You know, I think, you know, I've always said I kind of had like mixed emotions when it comes to him. Like if he's funny or if he's not funny, but it's like he has some moments where he's pretty funny. But he also has some moments where it's kind of like, you see, and this was one of those moments where it was kind of like, right? When it comes to like, he was just forcing it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I get you a comedian. I get you, you know, you're there to kind of do the punchline thing and bring in viewers and stuff like that. But it just felt kind of weird. And like money was wasted in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, for instance, you tell Shaq that he looked like a gay porno director or whatever you said, right? And it was kind of funny, but it's like, come on now, it's kids watching though. You know what I'm saying? Like kids is there. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just kind of random. You know, it was just random when it's like you didn't have to really do all that. You could have just let them finish hooping, right? Could have let them finish hooping, and then you try to do the bit with the whole, you know, with the gone fishing shit and da 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 da. And it was like, all right, can we get back to letting them hoop now? Because they over there watching for 10, 15 minutes, and now they back stiff as hell, and now they are gonna get hurt, right? You know, speaking that on them, but like that's the type of shit. Like what we doing, right? And it was just too much entertainment. Like the Mr. Beast thing, it was pretty dope that the kid hit the half court shot. It was pretty cool, but it was just like overall, it's like in the Mr. Beast thing. It's like, what we doing? You know, it felt real forced, like you were trying to bring in a certain audience. And the crazy part is like I guess there's no problem with bringing in a Mr. Beast or whatever the case may be, but it's like you didn't even tell nobody that. You didn't even promote that. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to that, so the kids didn't even know. So it just felt like last minute inserts, like just like Hail Marys almost like you it's a such thing, it's like overcorrecting. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to the tournament itself, I actually enjoy the tournament, right? Style format, but I think you miss the ball when it comes to, and I think this is why there were so many commercials because the games themselves were short as fuck. Because even the game itself was short to 40. These are NBA players. They can score 40 in 10 minutes, you know, if not less. Right. The other day, OKC and them just went on a 24 run in like 4 minutes. So it's like that's nothing. So I feel like either if you're gonna keep the format going forward, which I'm not totally opposed to, then you have to figure out how to make the game longer. Because even think about it from this instance. Let's think about it like this. Let's put it in perspective. Right? Like let's put it in perspective real quick. Think about it. Think about it. Look at this. So these are some first year guys, right? This is Jalen Williams from the Thunder, Tyler Hero, Cade Cunningham, you know, Evan Mobley, right? And they only play 8 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, right? Jaren Jackson only been a handful of times, like you know what I'm saying? Like he hooping this year, right? So you're splitting time with these young guys that haven't really earned anything yet, right? I get that, and that's what I say. I kind of get what Draymond is saying in some regards, but it's also like, come on now, right? But you're splitting time with these young guys. That time that could have been given to Cade Cunningham and to to Jalen Williams, to all those dudes, right? To all these dudes, not just those guys, but everybody, right? Trey Young got snubbed. Shingun's first year. Like you know what I'm saying? Like these are some of the dudes that got snubbed. Trey Young got the last minute invite, and he only got 6 minutes. That's still kind of like, well, shit. I could, I could stay in my street clothes for that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of a miss right there. So I feel like the game itself has to be longer, and less ads, more basketball, less entertainment, more basketball. Let them open up the show, do your awards, do your ceremonies, do your, you know what I'm saying? Have a nice halftime show, get right back to it. They need to come on and keep on going, like AAU style. Hoop, get off the court, some more warm-ups. Let's get to it if you're gonna keep the tournament, right? And make those games longer. They need to go first to 90 or first to 80, you know what I'm saying? Or first to 65 or some shit like that. Like you need to make it a little bit 90 was over OD, but like 65, you know, something like that, because it's like, damn, you robbing these young dudes that work so hard to get there and only get to play 6 minutes and then their night is done if they lost. Right. So maybe you need to have like a double elimination. The losers play each other, maybe if you want to keep that format, but you got to continue to develop it, is what I'm saying. Something like that. So for instance, you know, and the other thing is, I think you really need to think about replacing um replacing those rising stars playing in it, and you need to put another team there, right? I know they keep flirting with like the world team type of concept. We can talk about that in a minute. You know, I'm kind of on the fence about that whole world team thing, because it's like you don't have enough people. You know, and I broke it down right here, and I want to pull that up real fast, right? Like you don't have enough uh people that you can like do a world team thing with, right? But I think you definitely have to replace that Rising Stars team when you talk about even the tournament format. Like you got to figure out how to replace that. But I said it right here. I said Team USA versus Team World sounds cool, but there aren't enough international stars to fill 12 legit roster spots. You have NBA role players going up against Team USA's best. Competitive? Not really. Like you got to really think through that. You know what I'm saying? So then I even took it a step further and I said, all right, so who would that Team USA team be, or Team World team be? Excuse me. Then you have Giannis, Nikola, Luca, Shea, Joel, Victor, Sabonis, Jamal Murray, marketing, Aiden, Wagner, Siakam. That's not a terrible team if you're being honest. You know what I'm saying? If you're going like 12 against 12, right? But it's like I still think that the USA can win that game. In my honest opinion, I think the US can still win that game. It would be dope to see, but it's also saying that are we gonna make are we gonna make these bottom six dudes, seven dudes? Are they all stars? Siakam was, but it's marketing, it's Murray, it's Sabonis. He misses it every year. It's Aiton, it's Wagner. Wagner's a bucket, but he's not an all-star yet, right? Um, Joel, he hardly ever plays. You know what I'm saying? Like, so are you just gonna automatically name these people to all-stars just so he can have the all-star game? Because what if they don't? What if all that would mean that all those dudes have to become all-stars, essentially, correct? Unless you're gonna just make it a world game anyway. Like just take out just the norm. So maybe you can say, hey, these are the all-star guys, but we're gonna still have a USA versus world game. I don't know how that makes sense, but there are a couple logistical things that's wrong with that, right? And let's take it to another thing. Let's look at this real quick because this is a real thing too. Um, how do we fix this? How do we fix it? How do we fix it and get back to, you know, making things better, right? How do we fix this? So some of the things that I mentioned earlier, I think you got to bring back the East and the West, or figure out the world versus the USA concept. If you're not going to keep the tournament style, all right. If you're going to keep the tournament style, games have to be longer. Take out the rising stars, and you need to replace them with either a world team, or this is another dope thing I was thinking about, having the team snubs be another team, because there are 8 dudes right now that initially were not going to be all stars, that, you know what I'm saying, maybe even got the call after somebody got hurt, or they still never got to get the call at all. So like think about that. You could have had Norman Powell, Sabonis, um, um, who were some of the other snubs? Trey Young initially, right? LaMelo Ball, man, it's a couple other dudes, Devin Booker. Like there, if you could put another team together, and it'd be a team snub game, and they could be the fourth team, and that gives them a chance to come out there and so y'all don't think I'm an all star? I'm finna bust your ass, and it gives them a case for the next year. I think that's a dope ass part that they need to add and bring that in. Get the snubs involved somehow, right? Make defense matter again. Um, that has to be continue to be a priority. I think that has to be a priority. When you talk about another thing you can add just to All Star game or the overall weekend is let's make a 1v1 or a King of the court tournament. So many people that mention that. Think about that. Kyrie in that. Anthony Edwards in that. You know what I'm saying? LaMelo Ball in that. Who was a great ISO player? James Harden, right? Like think about that, bro. That'll be hard as fuck. And then you add some real incentives. Like, of course, you can add money. Of course, you can do something for their maybe their own charities, or you can say, hey, you can finesse it somehow and say, hey, whatever conference wins, that team that makes it, they get a they get home court advantage automatically. You know what I'm saying? Like something that you can work in to make them say, "Shit, I'm gonna go hard." Right. But I think ultimately, if you want to really, you can just bring back the East and the West, or have a World USA concept somehow, some way that makes sense. Um, but if you're gonna keep the tournament, you got those are the things that got to happen, right? And overall, more basketball, more actual basketball, less ads, less forced entertainment. Um, more time for the stars to be on the court, right? Don't over, you know, fix things. Like just do the things, right? Listen to us, right? And some of these things. Let's get one-on-one going. Maybe somehow get the snubs involved. I think would be dope. Add more incentive and make them have to fight for something. Make it mean something. And I think the sooner we do that, the better off it'll be. And that's just me. That's just me. I think the sooner we do that, the better off it'll be. Um, but yeah, but yeah, because like real talk though, let's talk about Draymond's comments, right? Because this is the problem also too on the other side of that. There are levels to being a fan of the NBA and being a fan of basketball. There are people that just watch it for fun, watch it every once in a while, watch it when certain big games come on. That's all they really care about, right? But there are people that like me that has an NBA league pass and watches 5 games at one time, right? Because I love the shit. I love it, especially when my favorite teams are playing. That's even more, right? Incentive. And when a dude that's instrumental to the league, right, like a LeBron, a Kevin Durant, a Draymond, say this shit sucks before you even give it a chance to see it, you're already pre-programming people's minds to be able to say the same things. As soon as something happens they don't like, as soon as something right, they like this shit. Even if it's true, give it a minute. Like don't create these preconceived notions for the people, right? Give people a chance to see it for themselves. And then you go from that. And that's not what's happening here, right? And I think it's doing more damage than good, right? Charles Barkley, he has that really bad where he damages the product and makes people like turned off when it's actually really good basketball being played. If you actually watch the games, you know what I'm saying? And take the politics out of it all. And I think Draymond is right about certain things, such as, like you said, the rising stars shouldn't be able to play on that game. I think you should let like the snubs do that. We'll just take the tournament out altogether and go back to the other formats, but just include incentives and things of that nature. Um, the games have to be longer. Stop making it more of like a big ass YouTube video, like my guy said. Um, it shouldn't be like what is Mr. Beast doing here and all that. Like maybe he could do like some pop ups, right? He can be, he can do like some entertainment stuff, like out, like whatever. But I don't know why would you put him in the middle of the game? You can tell he don't even watch basketball. He was talking about Damian Lillard like he was a superhero. Like that man's still a human now. He was talking about like he's surely going to make the next one. Like, yeah, he can shoot that motherfucker, fam. He's one of the best ever, but like, let's be realistic now. This is a deep ass shot. This is 40 something feet. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, just less of that forced stuff and just more of what matters. But Draymond was right in some regards, but also you ain't got to shit on the product. You know what I'm saying? And you just take those things back to Adam Silver and the team and let them know straight up. Um, and go from there. But essentially, I'm rambling at this point. But those are just some of the biggest things that stuck out to me that I really had a problem with. Some of the things were really cool. I think it made people pay a little bit harder, but just certain small inserts that Adam Silver needs to make, and I think it could be a much better game, a much better weekend, and more fun. Um, and yeah, man, I think it's that simple. I think it's really that simple. But I think I'm gonna end it right here, y'all. I love y'all so much, man. But it's the next episode. See y'all later. Peace. Yep.